Terry speak once before, and I'm a bit fangirling here right now because she has such incredible knowledge. So thank you, Terry, for all of that and the work that you're doing. I would like to acknowledge today that we're standing on Aboriginal land and that this was never ceded, and pay my respects to the elders from here, and I know there are a number of different groups from here, to the elders past, present and emerging. And I think we're in a really important place in our country's history at the moment with the Uluru Statement of from the Heart being fully implemented, or the encouragement to do that, and the referendum that's coming up, and just wanted to position Good Things Foundation support for the full implementation of that and for the referendum to say, and I will be voting yes myself when it comes. So, it is the last session on the last day of a 2.5-day conference, and it is a Friday afternoon at 2:30. And so I am going to get you to stand up and do something, okay? Because I was a primary school teacher for about 6 weeks. So, but my mum has been a primary school teacher for a lot longer. I'm just going to move that up a little bit. Okay, so this is a game where and there are prizes, okay? So this is a very quick game just to get you up and about, and it's trivia, right? So I'm really hopeful it's going to be quick, but this is a room full of librarians and you all have a lot of knowledge, so I'll see how we go. All right, so if you think the answer is yes, you put your hands on your heads. If you think the answer is no, you put your hands on your hips. Okay, these are random questions, nothing to do with digital inclusion. All right, is the moon wider than Australia? Yes or no? Those of you with your hands on your heads, sit down. Oh, gosh, that was a good one. Fantastic. Good job. All right. I'll go with the digital inclusion question then. The first iPhone was released by Apple in 2006. Catherine, you'll know this one because you love Apple so much. We had this conversation last night. All right, so the first iPhone was released by Apple in 2006. Hands on your heads for yes, hands on your heads for no. Hips for no. If your hands are on your hips, stay standing because it was 2008, not 2006. Thankfully, Catherine, you can sit down. So I know you hate. Yeah. All right. Here's the next question. In Scotland, the unicorn is the national animal. True or false? So if you think the answer is true, put your hands on your heads. If you think the answer is false, it is indeed true. All right, we've got 2 people left in this. Okay.
Fighting it out with you. Not competitive at all.
All right. A female kangaroo is also called a flyer. Yes or no? People, don't shout out the answers. The answer is indeed yes. It is also known as a flyer. So congratulations. I will hand you, my prizes are in my bag, but I will hand you the prize, which is some digital inclusion cards that we have in the Get Online Week packs. The Get Online Week is next week, and we also have some pens, so I'm going to hand those over to you for next week. Hi. Right. Okay. So, hands up, who's doing Get Online Week next week? Half the room, it's not bad, pretty good. All right, so Good Things Foundation, as many of you know, have all of you heard of Good Things Foundation before? Yes, fantastic. So our world is a world where everyone benefits from digital, and we believe that everyone in Australia has the right to affordable technology and access to local friendly spaces to be able to learn how to use it. About 3 months ago, we turned 5, so we've been in Australia for 5 years, and it was a very exciting day, because we had cake. But, I mean, I wanted to show this because we have managed to achieve quite a lot in 5 years, and that's due to the relationships we have with lots of organisations like yours. But the digital divide is really into three kind of pieces, and my fabulous comms director managed to get that on a cake, and I was pretty impressed with that. So I thought I'll use that instead of my usual slide about it. So it is around affordability, access, and ability, the three areas of digital inclusion that we need to address. And in the 5 years that we've been here, I suppose our model is really not to, take over the world, but actually to build capacity in organisations that are already there. I am absolutely passionate about the impact that community organisations can have on the people in their communities and how important they are, because you're already supporting people in your community. So if we can build capacity in you, then we'll be able to support people to have better lives. So we've got over 3,000 community partners that we've built in our network now. Not all of them are doing things all of the time, but that's pretty impressive, I think. And what we haven't got on that map, and I always say this, is that we actually have a partner on the Cocos Islands and the Keeling Islands, and my team always want to go and visit. And they're like, can we go there for Get Online Week this year? No. Anyone's going there, it's me. No, not true. So we've been able to distribute $20 million worth of grants. Some of our programs, including Be Connected, has reached over 1 million people. And we have over 15,000 digital mentors across the country who are supporting people. And they're people like you, or volunteers that are working in libraries or community centres, so local support groups. And we've delivered over 10 digital inclusion programs in the last 5 years. So a range of different programs, not just Be Connected. Has anybody heard of anything else that Good Things Foundation has done other than Be Connected? Ah, good. I'm going to share something with you today. That's good. All right, I'm going to flick through that one. So the digital divide, and I'm going to just talk a little bit about research now, because I actually really like research. And our organisation last year put out a report that was collating a whole range of different research from people around digital inclusion. And it's called the Digital Nation. And there were 70 different reports that had been released in the 12 months prior to that were talking about digital inclusion or digital skills or digital technology and how we use it in our country. And our landscape document that we talk about, it kind of highlights some of the issues around that. But because that's a bit hard to see, I thought I might make it a little bit bigger, some of the ones that I was going to highlight. So we know that older people are more likely to be digitally excluded, but it's also younger people. So 41% of young people between 18 and 35 say they have trouble keeping up with technology today. 41%. That's significant, right? And that's in a report that was actually just released this year. But 1 in 4 Australians, this is from the Australian Digital Inclusion Index, 1 in 4 Australians, or 28%, are digitally excluded. Does that surprise any of you? No. I know, I'm speaking to the converted here. When I was doing my radio interviews for Get Online Week this morning, that did shock quite a lot of people, because people do think, oh, everybody's got a phone, everybody's got one, it's fine, it's not a problem. But for me, I always talk about the importance of having the right technology, so it's not just having a phone. So what kind of technology do you need to be able to do what you need to do? If you're trying to educate 5 kids at home during lockdown and you've got one phone, that is not digitally included. If you're a refugee and you've come to this country and you get given one phone between your whole family to be able to engage in our country and in the world, then you're not digitally included. So that's a significant piece. And recently, ACAN, so the Australian Communications Consumers Action Network, released a report on affordability. And they were saying that in that survey that they did, 27% of people said that they were struggling to pay their internet and phone bills. Like, that's significant. So with the increase in costs of today, this is only going to get more important. So it's not just about digital literacy, it's not just about skills. We need to make sure we've got something that's crossing all of that. But we do know that digital inclusion support, so the work that you do, the support that you provide in terms of giving people access to digital literacy, it does support social inclusion. And I will talk a little bit about that when the outcomes of the Be Connected program, the evaluation that we've had. 87% of jobs need skills today. So 44% of not-for-profit staff are not confident using technology. Like, that's significant. Can I ask, like, how many people in this room feel like everyone that's working in the library is confident to use tech? Right. That's a Friday afternoon giggle if I've ever heard one. Right, so we're not just talking about the people that come into the library or the people that access support through the community, we're actually talking about staff as well. So we need to make sure that people feel confident to not only use the technology themselves, but then to help others. And this slide in terms of the caring workforce, whether that's librarians, but I was talking to a group of people who are supporting people with disabilities. So support staff actually also need to do that because they are the supporters that help people access the community. And if they're not confident in using technology, they're not going to be able to support people that their job is to help them connect in with the community and to do the things that they need to do every day. So we've got a major issue here because digital transformation has sped up significantly over the last 2 years, particularly since COVID. Everything is online. This is a piece of research, and it's a lot of stats on here because I couldn't choose which ones to take off. So this is a piece of research that's been done by Daniel Featherstone, and he's working for RMIT, and he's mapping the digital gap in Indigenous communities because the Australian Digital Inclusion Index actually doesn't have statistics in there around Indigenous people, right? So this is a major knowledge gap in the community, major. And so Telstra has funded Daniel and the team at RMIT to deliver this piece of research, and I highly recommend you having a look at it. He's just released a report you can get on APO. But he's gone into 13 different communities, remote communities, and he's doing a co-researching model working with local people to be co-researchers in this program, and looked at the issues around access, affordability and ability in those communities. Now, some of the things are similar. So it's, lots of people are using prepaid, which actually, in the end, costs more, okay? That's the same for other communities as well. Very, very few houses have internet access, very few. In terms of affordability, I've talked about the data paying more, but the shift to government services online really shifts the cost to people to be able to respond. That's a major issue, and it's a major shift in how services are delivered to people in the community. And yet, technology is a real enabler as well. So if people have technology, the ability to be able to connect with community beyond where you live in a remote area, to be able to create your own cultural knowledge and to share that in the way that you want to be able to have local business that you can then sell to people outside. There's real benefits to it, but unless you have the access in the first place, it's just not there. And although the government talks about the NBN being done, it's just not good enough in remote areas. So in terms of ability, there's a talk about the need for local digital mentor support. Fantastic organisation called Indigimob, if you haven't heard of them. They are doing great work in local communities. They're run by First Nations Media out of Alice Springs, and it's brilliant work. So if you want to look them up, they're doing fantastic work with community. But this one was really interesting, is the demand for support for cultural governance in a digital space. So elders talking about the need to how do we govern our culture that we have in our community in the online space as well, when people are interacting in an online world that we don't have control over. So it's an interesting conversation, and there's lots more to come. So this is only in the interim report, and there's more that's coming out. But now I'm going to talk a bit about what we've done. So, the Be Connected program has been rolled out around a range of people, and the digital mentors that we support. And this is actually a picture that was drawn from a digital mentor session at our conference last year. talking about the things that really need, digital mentors really need. And really I'm talking here to the converted again, because you do this work all the time. I think the thing to kind of highlight here, what we've heard certainly from people that are digitally excluded and want to learn something new, it's that piece around I'm really scared and I don't want to feel stupid in front of someone. I don't want to look like I don't know what I'm talking about. So that peer-to-peer support, having people that you are learning from that are like you, that have been in the place that you have been, is actually one of the things that works incredibly well in this space. And this is Mr. Lan, who's one of my favourite people, who has shared his story with us and been so incredibly generous with sharing his learning journey over the period of time. You can see one of his videos on our website if you're interested. But I think it's really important for us to highlight that actually it's people accessing essential services that we're talking about here. So during COVID, being able to get the right health information, being able to have a vaccination certificate, all of the things that you actually needed to do to participate in the community. They were all digital, or needed somebody to do something digital for you. Yeah. And this is the new normal of after COVID. I'm curious, who continued to support people with digital skills while you were closed, while libraries were closed? Yep. How did you do that?
We created a series of videos.
Yeah.
This is how you download this
Yep.
onto your phone and that sort of thing. We also got really, really good at fielding phone calls.
Yep. Yep.
And I said, what sort of a device do you have?
Yep.
If they said Apple, I wanted to pass it.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So you're on an iPad. Okay.
Right.
I've got an iPad in front of me.
This is
what
what
I'm
you do.
looking at. This is the symbol you're looking for. This is what part of the screen you should be seeing at. And it might take 40 minutes to walk them through it.
Yes.
I got really good at it.
Yeah. But 40 minutes to do one thing to support one person. And I've heard stories like that from all of our community partners, because nobody was going to let somebody be isolated on their own, because that's not what happens in our communities, and that's not what our community sector does. But 40 minutes for one...
It would have been 30 minutes on an
Of course it would happen. Thank you. Thanks for that. Yeah. But teaching somebody how to use Zoom over Zoom is crazy. Right? So many people spent so much time on the phone helping people to do that. And absolutely inspiring to me to hear those stories about how people maintained that connection with people so that they wouldn't get isolated and they would have what they wanted. But I'm curious, who has continued to do some remote kind of support for people digitally since you've reopened? One. Yeah. Oh, couple. That's an interesting thing. I'm really curious, and this is what we're exploring now with our community network, is what is the hybrid model of doing this? Is there a benefit to it? Maybe. Most people want face-to-face support, yeah? But maybe there's a way of doing it for some people who are more confident. Anyway, there's a lot of learnings out of that we can continue. So, this is another hands up situation. Who currently has a grant from Be Connected? Right. Do we? I don't know. It was acquitted. I'm very pleased that it was acquitted. That's brilliant. Thank you, Nicole. But can you please apply for some more money? Because we continue to have funding that is available all of the time to support you to deliver digital literacy programs in your community. So we've had this year alone, we've had the Digital Devices Grant, we've had Get Online Week Grant, we've had the Building Digital Skills Grant that's open all the time. So please access. Yes, up the back. You had to have a certain amount of events.
Yeah, you have to deliver the picnic program through a certain number of participants.
You do, there are numbers, yeah. It is government funding, so there is, yeah, fantastic. So I think, well, I mean, come and chat to me afterwards because I can talk to you about your specific things. But ultimately, what I would suggest is if you don't have money from Be Connected, then you should be applying for it because this is funding and this is actually the largest digital inclusion funding that is available in our country, right? And it is for over 50s at the moment. We are advocating for it to continue and for it to be expanded. However, please apply for the funding. And you can use it for multiple things. Just ask Stephen and it's up the back. Great. We have regular webinars. We're starting a community of practice around digital inclusion support. So that's happening monthly and it's going to be run by different organisations that are delivering this program, not just by us, but to hear from people that are doing the work. Be Connected. Has anybody seen the Be Connected evaluation? So Be Connected, the program, and this has been evaluated by Swinburne University, it has been shown in the social impact evaluation to increase digital skills, increase online safety, increase confidence, and increase social connection. And that last one is the one that I'm most interested in. It's the what happens afterwards that supports people in the community to have a better life. And also, it was shown to have a social return on investment of $4 for everyone. So that is a significant benefit, not only to people in the community, but also to the government pocket. So very handy for having it refunded again. Now, I'm hoping this is going to work for me, and my friend Ben is going to help me at the back there, because I do have a video to show you. Has anybody seen the Old Person's Home for 4-year-olds?
Yes.
Oh, made me cry every single episode. Ben, is that going to... Oh, hang on, here we go. Maybe if I... Oh, no. Ben, is there... Can you press... Oh, here we go.
I saw some frogs over here before. I met Ruth at a Be Connected program, and she came in because she wanted to learn how to identify frogs on a Frog ID app. So why don't we take a photo of the frog, and then we can actually send it off to the Australian Museum. She sort of has a bit more of a quirky interest with technology than the other seniors.
Oh, there he is. Of course, being the rainy season, there are frogs croaking everywhere. I just thought, oh, that's a good app.
One there as well. Can you see him? He's right there.
Oh, up there?
Yeah,
Oh,
super
yeah.
close.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Look, I got a frog ring. I love frogs.
Be Connected is an Australian government-funded program. It's all about supporting older Australians to be confident in the online world. The Be Connected network has over 3,500 community partners all over the country. For our community partners, we talk about how do you find that hook, that thing that people are really interested in? How to be safe online, how to do some shopping online, and to be able to record what frogs you have in your backyard and find out what they are.
I'll just go here to the bomb site, the
Yeah,
Bureau of Meteorology site. It's here.
I would definitely consider Ruth my friend. Getting to know her and her interests has been something that I've got to love.
Last night we had 86 millimetres.
There you go.
The Be Connected program, it's been really great because I considered myself very technophobic and yeah, I'm getting a lot better.
You've actually done a really good job trying to figure it out on your own and with my help.
I used to have to rely on the poor old rain gauge here, so...
People over 65 are the most likely to be digitally excluded. We want to make sure that there's places all over the country so they can learn the online skills that are important to them.
We started this Be Connected program in June last year. Today we had a face-to-face class. We run the digital literacy program for Bangladeshi community in Western Sydney. So remember how we used to have the classes on Zoom when the COVID started last year? We thought that it would be better if we have tutors who are bilingual. আমরা আবার Zoom করব.
Before I don't know how to use internet, and now I know online banking, Imo, Viber.
Acha, এখন let's talk a little bit about social media.
I think the pandemic
was the eye-opener. Most of the senior citizens relied either on their children or someone from their community to come and help pay the bill or do something online. And all these restrictions came in place. They were realizing that they were alone and struggling to do things on their own. COVID time made us realize that more.
In the beginning, all the classes were conducted through Zoom. We had some troubles, but in the end, it became easy.
Older people on their own, they're more likely to be socially isolated. So being able to use those online platforms like Zoom and Skype and WhatsApp and Messenger was really important.
Now, how about we do Service New South Wales?
Yep, the QR codes.
Yeah.
The way that I'm involved with Be Connected includes going around to libraries.
I think we'll stop it there, it's quite long. And now I'm going to go back hang on. Oy, there we go, right. So, I just wanted to show a little bit of the actual digital mentors and people that are working on this. We were lucky enough to have that filmed by the ABC as a result of the Old Person's Home for 4-year-olds program. So it's fantastic to have just that recording of, actually consider Ruth my friend is what our young mentor said. That's the kind of thing that we do this for. Well, that's what I do it for. And really, this is actually from another organisation that's part of our network that's also doing an intergenerational program and just talking about the connections between older people and young people. Has anybody done an intergenerational program on digital mentoring before? Of course you have, Stephen. If you're interested, there is actually there's a whole new program that eSafety is rolling out called the Young Mentors Program, and it's about encouraging schools to do this and to connect with organisations like libraries to be able to come in and do that digital mentoring with older people. So I highly recommend you check that out as well. But we don't just support older people, and so I am particularly passionate about supporting people with intellectual disabilities. Full disclosure, my brother has Down syndrome, and I've also always been passionate about making sure he has access to all the things that I do. And so we actually have been working with Down Syndrome Australia to develop some resources for people with intellectual disabilities to access the online world, because there literally are almost none. So there are none that are accessible, that are in easy read, that are using videos in simple language that are available. Be Connect is great, but it's really wordy. We saw this as a gap, and we've got some funding to work with Down Syndrome Australia to do that. And again, I just wanted to get my project officer, Owen, to talk about why it's important for everyone to be online. Will I try it? Oh, there we go.
Hello, my name is Owen Gibson. I work with Down Syndrome Queensland kids. I do that on Tuesday. It is very important to IT staff to learn all the new stuff and learn all the new skills. Online, I actually like to talk to my family friends of mine, like when I, isolation or something, I can go online, I can go on and say hello to my family in Ireland. It is important to talk to my family because I was going to say I love them. Everyone should be using the internet just like me. Thank you for supporting this program, everyone. Thank you.
Brilliant. I love Owen. He's been so fantastic to have as part of the project team for this project. And we did a whole co-design. We did some research with families and young people, asked them what was important to them in terms of learning online. Certainly for young people, the thing that they came up with most was online dating. They were particularly interested in learning how to access that, non-surprisingly, because these are young people between the age of 18 and 24, so yeah. But we came up with resources that combined with what they wanted to learn, what their parents and carers thought was important, and then was agreed with the group. And so we came up with connecting with friends and family online, not just online dating, using Zoom, using email, sharing photos and videos. So how do you do that safely? Because I think there's also just this week been research released by the eSafety Commission around online abuse of people with intellectual disability. It's really, really worth reading. It's nothing incredibly surprising, but it was done with young people and parents and carers, and the concern people have around being abused by people who they're trying to reach out to connect with online. So really, really important. We've developed a learner playbook, and we've got some resources that are going to be online learning resources for use for families. I was hoping they'd be ready today to show to you, but they're not quite. So keep an eye out. If you're not connected to our newsletter, please do, and we will make sure we send them out to everyone. Digital health literacy is also an area we've been working on quite a lot. So we've had 2 different programs, digital health, Health My Way and Your Health in Your Hands. Did anybody participate in Health My Way last year? No. We only had a certain amount of funding from the federal government, from the Australian Digital Health Agency, but it is that next step, because again, this is a piece of digital transformation that people are doing. My Health Record, e-health, e-prescribing, telehealth, people are rolling these out and expecting people to be able to use them. And I know that what's going to happen is that the doctor's going to send them down to the library to learn how to use it, right? So we are trying to work with around improving digital health literacy. We've got some resources there around how you use My Health Record, My Telehealth, and we are continuing to work with the Digital Health Agency to hopefully have some additional funding to roll it out broader than just a pilot. Yeah, just reliable health information. This is one of the tip sheets that we've got on our website. And one of our community partners that participated in the Your Health in Your Hands project. Good for us to be able to connect with them and show them good, reliable resources and how easy it is to access and do it themselves. I think one of the important thing around digital literacy, and you would know this, and what we're trying to build in people, I often talk about it as digital resilience, and there's been a lot of talk about resilience over the last few days. Because actually what we don't want is for people to have to keep coming back into the library to say, this is not working, can you help me again? It's actually for people to feel confident enough to go, oh, it's not working, but if I turn it off and turn it back on again, maybe it might. And if it doesn't, maybe it's the technology and not me. And how might I troubleshoot that? And when a new app comes up or a new update happens on my phone, that I feel confident enough to be able to manage that. So it's actually the confidence for people to be able to use technology and respond to changes that come that's really, really important. But advocacy is my key challenge, because when I started this job 5 years ago now, when I started talking about digital inclusion, people would be like, what? What is that? What do you even mean? And still, we have to talk about it a little bit. But because of COVID, we have had an increase in people understanding what the need is. They do still think it's around older people only, though. But there are some significant things happening at the moment. So there is there's a Royal Commission into Robodebt, which is looking at the use of technology supporting vulnerable people. Right? This is a really key moment for us to be able to influence how technology is used by governments and major organisations to access, to support vulnerable people. And for us to be saying, if you are going to use technology, you need to make sure people have the access to it and that they know how to use it. So there's a whole range of different things that we've been doing to advocate around digital inclusion. But MyGov is currently going through a review again. So there's a range there's been a new release. Apparently it's changed colours, so it's no longer the green that I've got in here. Apparently it's blue. Yeah. I know, it's awesome, isn't it? Yeah. They have changed it slightly in terms of, it's now in life stages rather than in actions. But actually, there's a review going on at the moment between now and the end of the year, where they are looking at what needs to happen around MyGov to make it more user-friendly, because we know it is a nightmare. And it is the gateway to government services for everyone in Australia. So if you can't use it, then you don't have access to government services in the same way as everyone else. So I will be advocating around that, and not only that it needs to be easy to use, but actually that you need to be able to support people how to use it. There we go. Earlier this year, we released a blueprint into what we think is important in closing the digital divide, and really it's three things. So we think that there needs to be community-led digital skills support for everyone, not just for older people, and it needs to be rolled out and funded across the country, right? We also think that there needs to be a creation of a national a digital inclusion strategy. There is not one. Nobody is working together on this. I have been meeting with new ministers and the new federal government over the last 3 months, and there is no one minister to speak to about digital inclusion. There's about 5. So that's a challenge for us in making sure. And in some ways, it's good that it's spread because everybody has responsibility. But if everybody has responsibility, nobody takes responsibility. So we need to make sure that there's a digital inclusion strategy and that there's affordable access to digital devices and data for everyone. Our colleagues in the UK have actually been working on something called the National Device Bank and the National Data Bank, where they're looking at having the opportunity for people to access devices through recycling from corporate organisations and refurbishing and then being able to distribute to people that need it at scale. So we know this happens already, it happens in Australia, but not at scale. So that's something they're doing. They've also got a national data bank where they've managed to get 3 different telcos to donate data into one place for distribution. So that is, again, impressive and a challenge. So keep watch on this space because I'm very interested in how we might be able to make that work here. Get online weeks next week! Hey! Which is why I've been doing about 10 media interviews on radio in between the sessions today. But I highly recommend you getting involved. There's tip sheets on there if you're not even doing something. There's tip sheets on the website that you can download and use for people. We did have fantastic resources this year. We've got bunting and little cards and pens with stylus ends. But that's because we've got some funding from Telstra this year. So if you are interested, I don't think you'll get a pack in time for Monday, but check it out on the website. There's some fantastic, and highly encourage you to get involved next year if you're not doing it this year. Understand why maybe Bundaberg are not doing it. I don't know, you've been a bit busy with something else happening over the last week. Just to finish off, really my key thoughts are library and community organisations are vital in digital divide. Collaboration is key and we need to work together. There is support available from us and other organisations, so please reach out to us. We can direct you to where you can get support and help for doing this. And for advocacy, any digital transformation that's happening, whether it's for a corporate organisation or government, needs to make sure there is support for people to be able to use that. So this is a huge thank you and a cheers because this is the photo from the end of our conference last year. We sent people out a pack of things and my team wanted to send out alcohol and I'm like, you can't send out alcohol. But we sent out a non-alcoholic cocktail for people. And so this is us doing cheers at the end of the day. And given this is almost the very end of the conference, I wanted to say thank you for listening. Thank you for all that you do to support people to learn digital skills and to access the community. That's it. Thanks for having me today.
Fabulous, vibrant, enthusiastic, just like all of us.